YouTube and welcome to my channel, Anna Bella, and today I'm going to be reviewing the remake of The Lion King. Some might say completely unnecessary. I personally agree that it is an unnecessary remake, but having said that, we've had the live action Maleficent, we've had the live action Cinderella, we've had the live action Beauty and the Beast, we've had the wonderful live action The Jungle Book. So naturally they'd turn their attention to The Lion King, and obviously we've had the live action Aladdin, which I haven't seen yet. The live action Lion King was like watching a David Attenborough documentary without the wonderful David Attenborough voiceover, but taken from a Disney cartoon. I mean Simba. Yes, that's what I mean. I mean Simba, yes. It was very, very, very strange. I will say this, they did solve some of the issues with the story. Scar was very, very, very well played and very menacing, and his design was wonderful. The hyenas role, though, the whole thing was changed, but it was enhanced because they were like Scar's personal army, even though we didn't have the wonderful goose stepping scene from Be Prepared that we had in the original. We didn't get that in the remake. I will come on to that. Firstly, what I liked the visuals. They were brilliant. Scar was well done. Zazu was really well done. His character development was awesome. Rafiki, his character development was really well done as well. The hyenas, I'm going to have them as a separate section, but overall their army was really well done, and their leader, it was good. Pumbaa and Timon were actually really well done in this remake. Very, very well done, particularly Timon. He came across as beautifully camp, but only slightly camp, but it was awesomely well done, and Pumbaa was just lovable. The supporting cast actually were really, really well done. I don't know what it was about Simba and Nala. They were a tad bland. Sarabi, Simba's mum, had a really good character development. Unfortunately, the visuals were beautiful, particularly the end battle scene, but they just didn't click. It was very, very, very strange. You didn't even get that nice, warm, sort of Disney voiceover person. I mean, The Jungle Book worked because you had Mowgli as a little boy, so he was sort of like the human being leading you through, whereas The Lion King had to stand on its own. And to be absolutely honest, it was almost as if they copied and pasted the whole of the film, and obviously tweaking where they could. The musical numbers particularly suffered. Be Prepared was really well done in the original. When it came to the remake, it was good, but it kind of felt clunky. It sort of felt, why is this here? And it was the same with Can You Feel the Love Tonight? It was just literally copy and paste. I found myself getting bored throughout the movie because the comedy just wasn't there. The hyenas, which were menacing and really quite scary, just couldn't do the comedy side to it. And I fully appreciate why, because they were too animalistic. It was too real. You cannot have, hence why Ed wasn't there, and we got renamed ones, and we had that whole business about being in personal space, which was okay, but it wasn't as funny. The remake was actually far more serious with the material. Yes, it is based off Hamlet, as we all know, but it really kind of felt lackluster. It didn't feel like the safe children's film that it was. It was more done for adults, and I do appreciate the reasons why, but if you left a child watching that, it had a PG rating. You know, you with the original Lion King, you could perhaps, after a certain scene, you could perhaps sort of hover by the kitchen and hop in and out. With this one, you couldn't do that at any stage. It really was literally just copy and paste, but it didn't lack the creativity. That was what was missing. The musical numbers, like I Just Want to Be King, yes, you had the support, Simba had the support of the other young animals within the pride, but you didn't, because you didn't, this is the big thing, The Lion King and Simba's Pride 2, which is one of the best direct-to-video Disney movies ever made, have got some serious issues with their whole mythology and their whole world. Yes, it's been developed in The Lion Guard with Simba's son, being head of the Lion Guard, which also explains why Scar lost his roar and various other things. And we did have the handy, we have had the beautiful musical, which I've seen, the Lion King musical, which actually explains why Nala left. because Scar wanted her as a mate, but obviously in the remake they had to rejig that to give Sarabi a bigger role, and also to get Nala out without it looking too incesty slash creepy uncle. That's what Scar is. I did miss Jeremy Irons' voice, but more than that, because the person who voiced Scar was absolutely brilliant. The voices were really well done. I'm not even going to mention some of them because it's just too famous. They were brilliant. But what I really missed was the colour of their eyes, because Scar's eyes in the original were green, but in this one you didn't have that contrast between the red and the green, which I felt really helped frame the conflict and actually highlight the characters, because we have that wonderful scene where Scar's sort of in the back, it completely dark, and all you can see is the green of his eyes. You don't get that. Yes, we had other menacing things within the live action version, even though it's not live action, it's CGI. But it gets very confusing because I had one couple going, are they real animals or aren't they? It must be heavily CGI'd, because how could they get them to do what they need to do? And then some poor people were debating whether Rafiki was actually a really, really well-trained monkey. I was like, oh boy. Excuse me. I do feel that overall it was an unnecessary movie. If they had done something creative with like combining The Lion King with Simba's Pride 2, doing some stuff with the musical, fusing it, and then bringing us a new sort of creation or a new Lion King trilogy, that would have been brilliant. That would have been better. This just felt, oh, we've got to do this movie. We'll just copy and paste the best bits and then we'll talk, and then we'll just expand the supporting characters to give them the weight of the meaty story and allow Simba to just sort of wander through aimlessly, which was kind of, yes, they did manage to make further points regarding, are we all just on a straight line or are we all connected? And it was interesting when they were at the termite mound that all the other animals relied on Simba to break it open for them so they could eat, which I felt was really interesting philosophy point there. And then you also had the fact with Scar that when he was going through to the elephant graveyard, it showed you him walking over the water and then walking over the water again, and he had no reflection, which is interesting because in the musical there's a song that's actually taken from The Lion King 2, which is Remember Him, or He Lives in You. Yeah, that's it, He Lives in You. And that's played during that scene where Simba is looking, where Rafiki is showing him the water pool and he's looking into it. Admittedly, Rafiki in the musical is actually a girl, whereas on the screen he's a boy. That's just a difference. But overall, I really struggle because the movie had some stunning visuals, but it just didn't feel the same. It didn't have the same emotive moments, purely because the characters couldn't do the cartoon gestures. The hyenas weren't as funny. Pumbaa and Timon weren't as funny because they didn't have the range of anamorphism that you get in a cartoon. You just couldn't carry that across. The Jungle Book's different. You've got Mowgli there, and we know that these animals within the Jungle Book are larger than life. So you can make King Louie bigger than a normal orangutan. You can make Baloo the biggest bear ever. You can make Shere Khan the massive tiger that he is. You can make Bagheera the massive Black Panther that he is, because we know that these are fictional animals. In The Lion King, they made it too real, even down to Rafiki, because at one point he was holding his staff with two hands. In the next scene, his staff was nowhere to be seen, and he was on the floor, all hands down, walking like a monkey, and which didn't make sense, because where did his old friend, the staff, go? Sorry, it's just a plot point. But there were loads of other plot points like this where you were just sort of like, because the elephants couldn't rise up on their back legs like they did in the cartoon at the presentation of Simba, because they were being shown realistic animals. But would realistic animals worship a Lion King? I don't think so. So it was very, very confusing. And it almost needed David Attenborough to say at the start, this is not a documentary. But I mean, if he'd said that, people would have thought it would have been a documentary. Who knows? Overall, I'm going to give it a 3. It was nice to see that they developed some of the characters and they gave Scar an interesting and scary and quite seductive development. And it's the same with the hyenas. They became really quite menacing and terrifying. Whereas in the actual cartoon, you don't get that threat. That threat level is lessened because it's a cartoon. Overall, definitely 3 out of 5. It was good, but it felt just too copy and pasted, really, and unnecessary. It would have been, what would have been nice is if they got the Lion King musical, they got the Lion King the original, and they got Simba's Pride too, and they decided they were going to do a well thought out, well planned trilogy of it all. That would have been nice. That would have been better, and it would have allowed them more creative freedom to develop the franchise further. That's just my point. Let me know what you thought about The Lion King in the comments below. The voice actors were great. Nothing against the performances. They were very, very, very good. It just felt that like the whole creativity of the project was like, oh, what should this scene look like? It should look like this. Oh. And it was really disappointing at the beginning because you didn't get the orange with the black. You got just normal savannah, and it didn't make you feel and emote, because the reason those colours were chosen, even I Can't Wait to Be King with its colourful backgrounds, you didn't have that childlike joy with it. Yes, you had all the other baby animals and you got to see them at the waterhole, and that was further explored, but you didn't feel childlike joy because you didn't have those colourful childlike backgrounds that you got during the animation sequence of the original film. So you didn't get that disparity between child Simba and adult Kimba. I mean, Simba, it is in no way a reference to a Japanese anime that Disney may or may not have stolen the whole Lion King from. Anyway, let me know what you thought about the new Lion King in the comments below. Please like, comment and subscribe, and thank you so much for your support. I will be taking a little break from YouTube whilst I go on holiday. I hope to see you soon. Farewell and bye-bye.